As the church, we are called to direct the thirsting world to living water. However, with so much going on in the world, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed, disconnected, and like you're pouring from an empty cup. At SBC 21, we are here to help you reimagine, revitalize, and repurpose the cups you pour from while providing transformational resources. We also envision a world where every church is equipped, prepared, and unapologetic in building the beloved kingdom of God. We strengthen leaders and congregations to transform communities through leadership development, discipleship making systems, revitalization, and real-time social justice ministry. Ultimately, we seek to make disciples of Jesus Christ to serve and heal a hurting world. So regardless of what cup you bring to the table, SBC 21 is here to help with resources full of living water. For more information, please visit sbc21.org.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Michael L. Bowie Jr., the National Executive Director of Strengthening the Black Church, and I want to welcome you to SBC 21's monthly Lunch and Learn webinar. If this is your first time, I want to say welcome in. If you are a returning participant, we're going to say welcome back. Well, many of you all know that we provide resources, everything from leadership development to community revitalization and even self-care. So for more about that, just go to our website, sbc21.org, and you can go to the resource and you'll see all of those past lunch and learns on our website. Well, today I'm excited about, we have a powerful webinar today from vision to venue. And this is by our very own Candi. Candi is SBC's 21 program or project coordinator and director. Candi is a powerful leader. And today she'll be offering this webinar on offering practical ways and framework how to help you discern the best path forward. Because all of us, we have ideas and we have ideas where we want to go in ministry. But Candi is going to give you some direction on how you can clarify goals, you can assess your congregation's needs, and you can align your resources for maximum impact. So, how many of y'all are ready to go from vision to venue? So, without further ado, I'm going to present to some and introduce to others my friend, Candi Cylar. Come on in, Candi, and take us to the next place.
Well, hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope we are doing well. I see some folks I know, and I am excited that you all are with us today. Dr. Boyd, I don't know if you knew that today is Bosses Day.
Oh, but
Happy Bosses Day.
well, thank you. I'm ready to boss up. I felt that's why I put my blaze on because it's Boss's Day. It was for you and
Well,
for Boss's Day.
all right. Happy Bosses Day to all the bosses that are on this call, because if you are not the boss at your job, you're the boss at something.
Amen.
God has called all us into leadership. So boss up today and celebrate yourself if no one else is celebrating you. There we go. All right. So today we're going to talk about a practical and prayerful framework to move forward from idea to impact. From idea to impact. So, from vision to venue, deciding what to plan for your congregation. So, all of us at some point have to plan something for our congregation. And so, whether it's a program meeting, afternoon, Women's Day, Men's Day, VBS, a conference, a summit, a retreat, all of those things. But what we have to do is figure out what works best for our congregation, not just for the people watching in the audience, but also from our team, our volunteers, our staff. What's going to work best to get our message across? So we're going to start from beginning. So I want you to put your thinking cap on, and we're going to start at the very beginning. So today, what we're going to do is clarify goals. We're going to go over clarifying goals. We're going to assess your congregation's needs, align resources for maximum impact, and then identify whether your next steps are an event, a conference, a retreat, or a program, or something even bigger. It could be a festival, could be many things. And we'll talk about that. So, if there's anything brewing in your mind right now that you've been thinking about planning, something God deposited in your mind, or another person on your leadership put something out there, drop it in the chat. I just want to know what you guys are working on as we jump into this conversation. So just drop in the chat if you're pondering on something or thinking about something. Okay, so whenever you have those ideas, there is clarity of vision that you need to have. You need to identify what this vision is. So if it's not rooted in vision, it's just another event. So if you want maximum impact, if you want to make change, you want your event to be rooted in vision. So, what is vision, Candi? Vision is your big project, the big picture, the God-inspired destination. And you ask yourself this question when you're talking about vision: where is God calling us to go? That's how you get to your vision. So where is God calling us to go? And then when you're talking about your mission, is what do we do to get there? So where you're going and what we do to get there. So vision, mission. And then it's all about the assignment. So what are we called to do in this season? All right. So that is where God is calling us to go, is what do we do to get there? But then in this particular season, what are we called to do? All right. So that's where we're going to stay today. But I want you to take a minute and reflect on what is God calling your ministry to be before deciding what you should do. And does that align with what you put in the chat a few seconds ago? This idea that's brewing in your mind, does that align with what God is calling your ministry to be? And I'm gonna go back because I know I'm gonna clarify. I know most of you know the answers to all of this, but if there's anyone that doesn't, let's just go over the mission describes what your church does every day to live out its process. So I'm going to make sure we're clear about that, because a lot of times people say, oh, I have a mission, but they don't know it or they're not utilizing it. Okay. Or they say, we don't need a vision because we have a mission. So they're two different things. So your mission defines your ongoing assignment and clarifies who you serve and how you serve them. That was good. Who you serve and how you serve them. But then there's your vision, which is a spirit-led picture of the preferred future. So what your ministry and community will look like when your mission is fully lived out, that's your vision. What do you see it looking like? And then there's this assignment. The assignment is a specific action, project, or focus that God is giving you right now to move the mission forward. So you want to clarify what your assignment is before you even get started. You're helping to name your current calling when you clarify your assignment. So you want to take the tangible next step that expresses your mission in this moment. All right. So as we're clarifying vision, here are some questions I want to ask you. If you're where you can write this down, or if you have your phone or you're in front of your computer, maybe take notes so that you can share this. So what is God asking me to do in this season? What is the desired transformation? Who will be impacted and why now? So What is God calling me to do in this season? What is the desired transformation? So this is huge. You hear people talk about strategy all the time. Strategy is looking ahead and making plans to getting there, making plans to get to your destination. So what we're talking about today is really strategy toward an event or a conference or retreat or a type of programming. We're creating strategy for that. So what is the desired transformation? And then who will be impacted? Meaning who is not only who is your audience, but also who's going to help you get there. Who are those persons, those resources that are going to help you to help the people, to celebrate the people, to teach the people, whatever it is. And why do you do this now? Is this a good time? Is this a good time in the life of the church, in your community? Have you sought out to see what your community needs versus what you're planning to do? Just we all know when God deposits something, we also have to know the right time to actually bring it to fruition. So several layers to unpacking what that looks like. Okay. So know your why and why you have to do it right now. So discerning the right format for what you're doing. What does that look like? So there are events, which are inspirations, energy, typically one day, like an evening, and it may bring awareness, but it also may be a celebration. Like Halloween is coming up. So a lot of churches will have huge harvest festivals. What is the purpose of that? What's your format? This one day event, what does it look like? Versus you could share awareness while people are there, but it also just could be building relationship. So not every good idea is a conference. But then there are conferences, which literally is building leadership, training folks, and they're typically 2 to 3 days. And there's some type of activation. Your outcome is going to be some type of activation. And then you have retreats, which are my favorites. And retreats are all about rest and renewal. Rest and renewal. These are typically 1 day to 3 days. And it's an opportunity to invite people into a space of restoration. So your outcome should be all about restoration. But what about programs? Now, if you're churchy like me and grew up in a Baptist church, you would have a program. It's going to be something that's happening at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon or Saturday morning program. But we're also talking about programming, like creating programs that grow discipleship, that offer some type of growth. And these things could be weeks or months long. But at the end, you're seeing transformation. So remember, not every good idea is a conference, but what is your good idea and what is your goal? So think about that. What's my goal? Is it awareness? Is it activation, restoration, or is it transformation? Another question for you is what's realistic for my current capacity and season? Should I move on or do you need to think about that? What's realistic? All right. So, one of the major things you need to do is assess your congregational needs. Now, Candy, what does that look like? Assessing is not just the interests of the people, but it's also the capacity of your people. So, their time, volunteers, are they able to do follow up? Because you can't do this alone. We're not an island, right? So, we have these great ideas. So, what's the real behind your idea? What's the real deal? What do you want out of this idea? Why are you doing this? Why is God calling you to make this happen? And then, how ready is your congregation for this? How ready? Because it could be a big move, but then your congregation is, dealing with some other things. Maybe you have a lot of teachers and it's a fall break and you're trying to plan something and people have already planned vacation. So you got to think about things like that. Is your congregation ready? Is your congregation ready to move into leadership, ready to be transformed, to do the things that you want to do? So there's a lot of questions that you want to ask there, but it takes having conversation with people. There's nothing worse than a pastor to just jump up out their sleep and say, "We're going to do this." And then everyone has to fall in line. There's steps to it. There's a strategy to it. And then we fall in line when we know the vision, the mission, the purpose, the assignment, and how we're going to execute it. So, what support systems already exist? You want to think about that. You want to think about what you have in place. So, if you're preparing for a conference, and you want to think about, okay, I already have a strong event planning team at my church, or I don't have a strong event, or I don't have an event planning team at all, but I have some good leaders that have recently retired, that have some great ideas and time, and I want to invite them to help me. Or what about another church that's right down the street? Would they be interested? Is that something that you want to pray about? Is that something that maybe support and you all gather and do something together? Just a thought, just a few thoughts to get us out there. So remember, and it was kind of hard to squeeze all of this into 45 minutes or into 40 minutes. Man, we're moving quickly. This literally could be a 2.5 hour session, and we could go deeper and even to execution. But today, this will be part one, and you guys have to let me know if you want part two. So, pray for wisdom, pray for partnership, and pray for courage to implement the vision. That's what we want. Courage to implement the vision, wisdom and partnership to implement the vision. So now God has given us the courage to move forward. We want to align our resources. So I'm going to pause here because I want you to take a second to look at these questions. What people, spaces, and partnerships are needed? We just talked about that. We know that we need support. What does that look like? What is essential versus nice to have? Now this is huge for me. This is huge for me, y'all. I've been doing events for many years. I'm not going to tell you how many because it might tell my age, but I've been doing it for many years in the capacity of the church world for a few years. And it's nothing like dreaming big, but it may not be essential. It may not be necessary at the time, and you may not have the resources to really make that happen. And that's important to figure out. So, what's essential versus what is just nice to have? All right. So, how can you measure success spiritually or practically? Think about that. How can you measure success? And if you don't mind, drop it in the chat. I want to know what you're thinking. How can you measure success spiritually and practically? I hear you, Catherine. I got you. Leah says we plan for growth. What will congregation look like in 10 years? Yes. How can we measure success spiritually and practically? Growth in membership is a great way to plan for success. We can also plan with growth per in the number of people that we're seeing on Sunday, because that's also important to cater to those people, which may eventually lead to membership. What else do we have? How can you measure success spiritually and practically? All right. Growth in prayerful discernment. Oh, it's moving fast. For our leaders with the vision for the greater community. Oh, I love it. Y'all are dropping them in here. My screen is moving fast. Increase member engagement. Rise in volunteers for initiative. Bathe in prayer. Amen. How many new people join the church? Growth in spiritual formation. Yes, I love that. How does the congregation understand God's activity in the world? Increase in generosity. Yes. New and more confident leaders. Yes, all of that is great. And yes, yes, and yes. Those are ways that we measure our success. And we also want to look at the type of event because measuring may be a little different. Increase faith with skills, bring God's vision to pass with SMART goals. Yes, Catherine, I see you. Leah, Catherine is one of our maximum impact churches. So, all right, we're going to move over to your homework. Ministry Impact Canvas. This is a 6-step framework that you need to get you from idea to a strategy to implementation. Okay. Idea to strategy to implementation. So, number one is going back to what we said earlier. You want to clarify your why, meaning make sure that you have a vision. And then you want to define your who. Who is your audience? So for whatever retreat, conference, program, event that you're creating, who are you creating this for? Who is your audience? Because in some instances, you will have 5 generations there, and you need to uh, think that way, create that way for all generations. But in some instances, it could be that you're focusing on the youth, or you're focusing on the seniors, or you're focusing just on adult ministry or family ministry. So define who is in your audience. And then you want to choose your how. And your how is the list of the different types of events that we talked about. Even if it's just a a one-off event, could be a festival, it could be a gala, a party. But then there's conferences, remember, where you're training and growing leaders. Retreat is where you're going to restore, rest. And then there's programs, again, where you're learning, but it can be an ongoing process for a time span, a longer time span. So then you want to determine your when and your where. So based on what you said earlier, and I'm a little behind on my chat, so I can't see what events you're already thinking about. What would be your when and your where? Like, are you planning something for this time next year? Have you thought about the venue? Will it be at the church? Will it be at the convention center? Um, will you be partnering with another ministry or organization and you're having it at their venue? And yes, Valerie, I will share. I actually, well, I was going to surprise you and tell you I have a full worksheet that you will receive via email after this Zoom today. A full worksheet that will process everything that we talked about today. And then it'll be posted on SBC 21's website as a resource. Awesome. All right. So you have clarity of vision. You've defined your who. You you're going to choose your how. You've done that. Now you determine your when and your where. And then the last thing to do, well, not last, it's still a lot of work after that. But in this particular framework, we want to develop the next. Okay. Develop your next. You have your venue, you have your timeline, and then it's this whole chunk that has to go in between determining the when and the where, and then developing your next. So there's a chunk that is a whole other workshop that talks about how we're actually processing through these things with the people. What do we want them to know, to grow, to do, the details of all of that. But then developing the next is also, how do you sustain what you have put together? What is your follow-up? And I think a lot of times that's what we miss. We miss the follow-up piece. Like, how do we reach out and connect with those persons on the next level? Are we sending them, like I did today, created a worksheet, a whole little worksheet, workbook that has all this information and some thought-provoking questions that will help you gain success for your next event, project, idea, to get you to maximum impact. All right. So you got to start thinking about, how do you develop your next? What is that follow-up? How do we sustain? What does that look like for you? All right. Catherine says this year we're doing the emergency pop-up shelter again. Yes. The warming center at Mason Square, Wesley United Methodist Church. Awesome. And then MLK Scholarship Breakfast is the 45th annual in January. Very, very good. So have you thought about your sustainability? What's your follow-up with those people? Do you have a committee or a team of folks that just focus on what follow-up looks like? Is it reaching out? Is it information that's giving to them? Is it a next step program? Is it connecting with another organization that connects your people to them? So start thinking about your sustainability. All right. So from idea to strategy, from idea to strategy, what are your faithful next steps? That's where we landed. That's where we are. What do those next steps look like? The next thing I'm planning will make kingdom impact because, I want you to write this down. I need everybody to write this down. The next thing I'm planning will make kingdom impact because, and you're going to fill in the because. If you're in a hurry today, don't fill it in right now, fill it in later. But I want you to write that down. The next thing I'm planning will make kingdom impact because. And if you feel so inclined to answer right now, I would love for you to post it in the chat so we can see it. The next thing I'm planning will make kingdom impact because. I'm going to put myself on the line because the next thing I'm planning, SBC 21, in conjunction with the Junius B. Dotson Institute, we're planning Shifting the Atmosphere Conference in 2026 in Dallas. Now, we've asked these questions and we're still unpacking what that looks like, but this we're planning will make kingdom impact because we are being thoughtful in meeting the needs of the people who have the problem or have needs. Not because we're thinking, what is it that we want to share? How can we sing loudly or preach the hardest? No, we talk to people to ask them, what do they need? Asking the question, what is it? How can we solve the problem? What is the problem? And not only the problem that we think it is, but the problem or the learning, the teaching, the issue that people need. We want to hear that from the people with the problem, the issue, the solution, and what they want to learn, and so on and so forth. So asking that person, what is it that you need and how can we help you? All right. May your ideas align with heaven's purpose. That's my goal, is that your ideas align with heaven's purpose. So I'm going to stop here. And I want to hear your questions. Do you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments? I hear you, Terry. Come on. Come and bring two of your music ministry people. Winnie, good to see you. Having seminar or fellowship, well, not see you, but know that you're here. Fellowship on healthcare. It will help those who do not know how to access health system in Boston. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. So that's an opportunity to help those with the problem, help them with their problem and the problem as they see it as their problem and how you could be a solution. I love that. God bless you on that. Any other questions, comments? Dr. Boyd, you can come back on and talk to me.
I was waiting to talk, but this is some good stuff, and I was just taking notes. And it's good seeing everybody in the chat. I didn't want to start calling names out, but seeing Leah McIntosh and Catherine, and even I saw May Rowlett, who's a member from my former church, St. Luke Community in Dallas, Texas. So it's good seeing everybody on the call. Um, this is some good stuff. I tell you, I'm taking notes for our coming leadership retreat in October in Atlanta. So act like you hadn't heard this before. Just say amen. Like,
So Paul Johnson asked a great question. What are
yeah,
some good questions to ensure you have shared the vision with your team?
that is
Um,
good.
that's an excellent question.
Yeah,
So I think if you follow the steps,
yeah.
that will ensure. I don't think there's any one, two, three specific questions to ensure, but I think following each steps, like clarifying your
Mm,
vision, what you're seeing happens, making sure that it aligns with your mission, and then, okay, how can we execute this? So, what is the vision that God is showing you? Sharing that with your people. What change or transformation do you want to see in the people in the community or the people that are your audience? So, remember, I said you want to, for each and every event, program, conference, summit, retreat, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? And what is the problem of the people who are in our audience?
mm,
So, step by step, I'm looking at your worksheet that I am going to send to you in your email. It talks about that. The first thing it asks you to do is write in one sentence your vision statement. Now, this is very important, Paul, when you get this document. Your vision statement is how, I'm sorry, our ministry exists to blank so that blank. Okay. And so you're going to look at your vision statement and then start to make sure that what you're doing aligns with that vision statement. And then you assess your congregation. So all of this is in the worksheet, and I hope that it will definitely be helpful. We have a question from Terry. Terry says, how can I connect with SBC, Choose Memorial, UMC?
I just gave the website.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
SBC21.org is our website. You can go on there and schedule a meeting. If you have specifics, you can shoot us an email. We're happy to help and work for you. Work with you.
Hmm.
Any other questions? Denise says, Denise is on a, oh, Denise is on an otter that's recording me.
Now, Candy, why can you tell them the importance of the follow-up? Because I think a lot of times we get excited about making the splash, and then the splash becomes a splash, and there's no follow-up to put to achieve what you've been trying to do. So why is
Yeah.
follow-up important?
And it's important because if you know your why, what's your vision, So you said our ministry existed to do blank so that blank. Oftentimes it's in that so that blank that
Hmm.
we miss because
Yeah.
we're doing the what. I'm
Hmm.
guilty of it because I'm always the one executing the experience. But the
Hmm.
experience doesn't end with the benediction. The experience should continue
The
on to
transformation.
the transformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
what
good.
what that looks like in between, the experience to the transformation is um a letter saying thank you, an email, a text, a follow-up document with what we talked about. One of the things I realized years ago when I go to conferences, summits, is so much information, but we
Yeah.
never pause to download the information. So it's
Yeah.
all of this that's uploaded into our psyches, into our brain. We get all of this and we're taking copious notes. And how often do you leave with that notebook and you never go back
And
and
just
look
put
at
it
it?
on the shelf. Yeah.
Right. And so really creating some type of follow-up. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just an email saying, hey, we enjoyed you and we hope you got this out of this. And you can always reach us at da, 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 da. Or
Mhm.
it's, a book that you want to share. Or, there are various
Yeah.
ways that you can follow up
Hmm.
and reach out to people. Valerie says this is so true, and this is why it is important to establish our accountability partners early on in the process. So very true.
Yeah.
And this takes me back to really establishing your resources and your team, who is in your congregation. I think we forget that follow-up team, like who, because when we finish executing, I'm exhausted, mentally drained. Kudos to the team. I want to sit down and kick my feet up, but it's
Mhm.
not over. So
Right.
how do you, grab that team of people that can take and carry the torch to the next level?
Yeah. 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 And I think Valerie said it best. And I think it's so good to have a team, i.e., whether it be administrative council, leadership team, or for us, our team, I call us the squad. You all hold me accountable. You're like, okay, Dr. Bowie, so what? What does that matter? And I think if you have a team who knows the vision and can hold you accountable, we won't miss up on the follow through. And I think a lot of times we miss that because we get excited about doing that we don't help people live into their being. So, but yeah, this is good. Good, good.
This
Mhm.
is good. I think I was talking fast. We got finished early.
Yeah. Uh,
I thought I was going to go over. Transparency, training, and inclusion of the process. Yes, Valerie. Uh,
Candy, you said something, and I think it's critical. Say more about the realistic for your capacity.
mm,
Because I
yeah.
think about you like Dr. Boo, it's only six of us. So I have to kind of not say dumb it down, but pull it back.
And for those of you that don't know, to repeat, I work for him, and we have 6 people on our team, and we're doing things across the nation. And so when you know that you have a small team, not that you have to dumb it down, but it
Right.
may be that you do things in phases. You
Strategic.
may
Right.
not be right. It's all about your strategic plan, but be strategic about creating phases to do things
Right.
so that you're doing it in excellence. Because if you try to go too big, go home doesn't always work for everybody,
Right.
especially in ministry, because everybody deserves a seat at the table. Everybody deserves relationship. And
Mhm.
everything we do is really about building relationship. It's
Right.
building relationship amongst us so that we can share with Christ, relational discipleship. And so it's really about assessing what can we do, excuse me, what is our goal and what can we do in this moment of time? And
Yeah.
then what's next? Do we
Right.
carry the torch here, or do we tap our neighbor and say, hey, why don't we do this together? My team can handle this much. Can we take it over here, JBD Institute, or JBD Dotson Institute, or Church and Society, or For
Yeah.
us, we partner with other organizations. For
Right.
churches, partner with other organizations, partner with other churches. I don't know why. We drive down the street. It's probably a church at every block or two on each block, but we never intersect. We never talk across the street. We never share resources or how we can actually do things together.
Yeah.
So, what about that? What
Yeah.
about having those conversations?
Yeah.
So, you're not overtaxing, because remember, the 80/20 is still real.
Right.
It's
Right.
real in relationships and it's real in church.
Amen.
It's only 20% of the people do the
Yeah.
majority of the work.
So you know I have those Bowieisms. So if you stay in your capacity, you can get an excellent result. If you exceed your capacity, you get mediocrity results.
That's good. That's good.
As you're looking for the question, Candy, why is it so important that we pray for wisdom, courage, and find strategic partnerships? Why is that important?
Well, of course, as a person, you want to pray for wisdom daily. I do.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to discern what it is that God is saying to me and what the
Hmm.
world is saying. So
Right.
you also want to be able to discern what are my congregational needs, what are my community needs, and then how can we be a part of fulfilling those needs. We
Right.
can't do everything. We know that we
Right.
can't do everything. So you want to pray for wisdom, clarity to know what it is that we can do and how we can do it.
Yeah.
And what it was one more,
Courage. So you
the
say
courage
courage.
to do
Yeah.
it. So how often do we think about things, even when God is blatantly blaring it in our faces, like, I want you to do this, and you're
Yeah.
afraid?
Right. Right.
You're afraid because you're thinking about everything that I'm saying. Do I have the
Right.
congregational support to do this? Do I have
Exactly.
the leadership? Do I have the team to follow up? You may not be able to see it until you step out and
Right.
start
Amen.
planning and start working toward it. So
Yeah.
having the courage to not only do it, but do it well
Right.
with the right people. And so when God brings it to you, God will bring the people to work with you, but it doesn't mean that they're going to appear magically, right? Valerie says, I have also found the 4 Ds to support the process: delegate, delete, do, and delay.
Mm.
I hear you. I hear you. Delegate, delete what's not working,
Uh-huh.
do what is working, and then delay what you don't have the capacity to do. That's
Amen.
my interpretation
Yeah.
of of
Ask them, can we borrow that? And we'll give you credit one time for it. But that's good. The 4D process. You may hear that again. So yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. Catherine said it's worth the cost of the maximum impact. Please check it out. We're working with SBC 21 in the New England Conference. They are, and she and her team are doing an amazing job. Um, Leah says, can the process be applied to long-term planning? Yes, it can be, which is the program piece. The programs are typically, days, months, weeks or months. But when you're thinking about your long-term processes, remember that gap. I said that there's more work there. There's a whole different workshop to start talking about the details of what needs to happen. And so when you're thinking about long-term planning for something,
Yeah.
specifically, I'm going to use program for an example, or even worship. For an example, if you're one that creatively does different things during worship, or there's a different theme or on different Sundays, or if you're talking about some type of programmatic learning or classes, literally this process needs to happen for each segment.
Right.
So if it's long term and you have module 1 that lasts, 6 weeks, and then you have module 2 that lasts another 6 weeks, you need to create this process for each module, because what you don't want to do is lose your audience in between, but making sure that your vision, mission, and assessment is all aligned helps you through each process. So yes, long-term planning, you can apply the same ideas.
Hey, Candy, I want to just send a shout out to Leah McIntosh. Leah has been a faithful, committed partner with SBC 21. She's a dynamic coach. She's a strategic leader and thinker. And I just want to send a shout out, say, Leah, thank you for partnering with us. And we will call you again soon because we have a big, holy, audacious goal that we're about to bite. So we're going to look for our phone call. So thank you for that. And Candy, I just want to say personally, thank you. And she hates when I say this, but Candy has a unique wiring, y'all. Candy has a right side mindset, which is creative, innovative, out of the box thinking, but she has been trained as an engineer. So she has a left side that's very methodical, strategic. She dots every I and crosses every T. And when she looks over my stuff, I'm like, there she go again. She used the left side. But seriously, you have to have people around you who have left side thinking and right side thinking to make sure that the vision comes out and it has great impact. So thank you, Candy, for your wiring and being unashamed about it because you are helping SBC 21 help be the best thing that God has called us to be. So thank you personally for that. On Bosses Days, Candy, thank you for this your wisdom, for your insight, your direction, for your clarity, for your conviction, and for giving us courage. And as we close, I love saying this all the time. Remember this, you all. When the black church is strengthened, this entire denomination is stronger because at the end of the day, the black church matters. May God bless you and God keep you. Have a great day.
Amen. Thank you all.